We're doing good. Yeah.
You also.
Yeah, fantastic. Always feels good to be back in Dubai, and great to meet everyone here. I know we've got a lot of one-on-one interviews after this, so excited to see how the day progresses.
That's awesome.
John, you're back here after what? A couple of weeks? Has it even been a couple of weeks? Do you have like now a permanent, like 3-year visa? Or it's amazing that you keep coming back to the UAE so often, and we're so glad to have you here.
Yeah, I mean, my last film was shot in the UAE, Dishum, and it was a lot of fun. And we came back and we did a press conference here, and we enjoyed it. And things seem a lot more organized here, so we really enjoy coming back, and we love shooting here.
Okay, let's start with the first question. How is Force connected to Force 2? Does the story kind of carry forward, or?
Yeah, so in Force, my name is ACP Yashwardhan, and people who've seen Force, I lose my wife and my entire team. And Force 2 begins with someone I know, someone very close to my heart, who's lost his life. And I want to go on a mission. And being a police officer, I'm not trained to go on that mission. And in Force 2, it's a far larger format. It's not about saving your family, it's about saving the country. And I go on that mission with a trained raw official, KK. So she's my boss. And we go on this mission together, and the story begins from there.
Alright, so actually, this question is to you. You created a space of yourself in the film industry. You know, like normally when we look at heroines, they're all very quintessential beauty. Chui we see, Sharmati we. I mean, you do that well. You do that so extremely well.
I can do that as well.
but you know, when you talk about Akira, when you talk about being that personality that actually can I? No, I cannot. Can we
get it. We know what you mean.
Yeah. So is it like you continue that way? Is that the plan? Like you're gonna create that space and
I think the best part about what has happened to me in my career is that I've never had a plan for myself. Everything, I think I'm Destiny's child. Everything has been charted for me, and I've just gone with the flow. So even when I was doing those chui-mui characters, as you're calling it, I really enjoyed that phase as well. But I was waiting for the opportunity where I can actually be a little bit closer to my personality, how I am. And I got that chance with Akira, and then carried forward with Force 2. And onwards, I think I would just like to do roles that really bring out a whole lot more of me to my characters.
Yeah, we can't wait for more women who are on screen and kicking some serious behind. Awesome. And here's a question for the both of you actually. What kind of training schedules did you have? I mean, do you even need to anymore train for a role like this, or now is it like, anyway you're spending 4 hours in the gym? So?
Actually not. In fact, she was just asking me, and she was like, how many hours do you spend in the gym? 2, 3? I was like, no, I have 45 minutes and I'm out. I think it's all about consistency, and I guess if you're regular with something over a period of time, it just becomes part of your lifestyle and you are able to follow it. But John lives in the gym. I can't spend more than 45 minutes in the gym.
John, I actually just saw you rubbing your shoulder here, and we saw the trailer like just before you guys came in. There was a nail that went inside. Is that the reason? Or did it actually happen?
Yeah, we do that in our movies. We actually like stab people.
And it looked real. Okay, so you're training Regine. I want to know how do you train?
Yeah, we just, I think Sonakshi was super fit because when I saw the trailer of Akira, we were shooting for Force 2 and we were shooting for an action sequence. And I was shocked. I was like, this girl can practically do anything and more than most heroes can. So we had a sequence where, she was initially standing at the back. That was her role was to protect this pregnant woman. And after seeing that action sequence, and she didn't even realize she wasn't even there, I went to the action director and I said, boss, I'll protect that woman, she needs to fight me. And she's done that sequence brilliantly. And not only that, I think Sonakshi and I, through the entire film, have done all the action set pieces, like you call them, together. And we've been shoulder to shoulder. And she's been fantastic. And I think for all of us, it's very encouraging to see a woman in a man's world being so dominant and so tough and so super strong.
And so real, I think that's what's so amazing as well. But what is it? Cardio, Pilates, weights, ballet. I mean,
Oh, you want like the regime?
yeah, exactly.
Well,
Like break it down.
honestly, for Akira, I had to train in mixed martial arts, which is why the kicks got to where they were going. And you know, you have to work on your flexibility. You have to reach a certain level of fitness to be able to carry out those kinds of action scenes. So what I trained for that film really came in handy even for this one. And honestly, over here we had such a variety of action that we were doing a lot of different things. Like there was a lot of running, there were car chases, run chases, running chases, there were gunfights, hand-to-hand combat, all of that in one film. So, you know, we had like a whole lot to do, and you have to be a certain level of fit to be able to carry it off.
Okay, I have one more. Yeah. Sorry, may I finish? So as you said, you know, the movie is maar dhar, nitya sangeet se bharpoor, kind of full masala pack. And John said that when you guys do action scenes, probably you know, back to back. And I don't think you've used a lot of guns, because obviously it's John. But here's the thing, like when you're doing the action
It's
scenes,
just guns.
has it ever happened that, you know, someone's gotten hurt? Or you know, like you must have hit her by mistake, because there are too many scenes in which you are doing the action together.
We didn't hurt each other, we were careful that way, but he hurt himself very badly. He put out a video on Instagram a few days back, in fact. He really hurt. John, you love talking about it, so why don't you talk about it?
I injured my knee in one of the action sequences, and I went to hospital, and I had a bit of, they aspirated the wound, so they put a needle and they pull out the blood. And then I went back to shoot. That was the biggest mistake I made, because in the action, it's a rooftop action, it got worse. Then I went back to hospital again, and they removed more blood, but I think 4, 5, 6 days in the hospital, they had to cut it open twice. And the smart thing, I don't know if it's really smart, the smart thing I did was, my line producer was there, I asked him to shoot the entire thing. So I have 2 hours of coverage of surgery, and I was really excited. I went to Sonakshi and I said, hey, listen, I've got so much of footage. And
Showing
she's
it
like,
to me, I'm
no,
like,
gross.
yuck, I do not want to see that, please. That's disgusting. But yeah, I mean, everybody thinks it's all glamorous and all fun and games, but I think a lot of, when we say blood, sweat and tears, that is exactly what goes into making a film, and I think this video you put out proves that.
Thank you so much.
A lot of blood
Thank
gone
you.
into making
Own
this.
pasine se entertainment in English. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Your turn, guys.
You have a question to raise.
Hi John, hi.
Hi, how are you?
All good. Lovely to see you again here. Okay. The poster says a soldier is a martyr and a dead spy is a traitor. Can you explain it? How do you see that in the context of the film?
Yeah, so what we've done is, and it's really applicable to any country in the world, but we borrowed from true stories that have happened with Indian agents and Indian spies who've gone across different borders, not any specific border, but different borders. And it's protocol that when you go across there, you're caught, you don't belong. And we borrowed from a story from a guy called Captain Kalia, who was across the border, and when his body was cut into pieces and sent back, and all his parents said was, at least now call him an Indian, if nothing else. So we borrowed from all these, and we created our story. So when you see the film at the start and at the end plate of the film, you'll see certain statistics, and you realize that the film, though it's commercial in the way it looks, and it's a lot of fun, and it's an under 2 hour relentless film, has a lot of credibility. So when you walk out, the only question you'll ask yourself is, my God, this is what really happens to agents? Because it's not only for India, it's agents across the world. This is what really happens. They actually sign off and say, listen, we're going in, you know, and it's a brave job. And that's what Sonakshi's character is in a lot more ways than one. I'm still a police officer, you know. I have to travel with, I have to go on this mission with a raw agent. But she's trained, she comes in with a certain skill set, and we go on this mission. And we figure out and we learn things that happen, which is very interesting for each one of you to, you know, see, because suddenly with all the problems that are happening in our country and with all the problems that are happening in the world today, Force 2 by default and not by design has become an important film to watch. So we never planned for Force 2 to release right now just because of my knee surgery that it released later. We planned this film like 1.5 years ago. So it's been in the making forever. So it's just about, you know, we're fortunate with the timing and Force 2 also, as I would like to add, there are certain films, like we always say that Bombay and Dubai are very reflective markets in terms of business, and Force 2 is a very, very Dubai film. It's a very UAE film. People in the UAE love action, but they also love sensible stuff when they watch it. And I'm glad to say on record that it's a very sensible film. It's entertaining, it's commercial, and commercial because we've got Sonakshi Sinha, so we're safe on that front. But it's fantastic. It's really something that we put our heart and souls into. So we really hope for the best.
So did you actually get to meet raw agents as well, or was it part of your, or was it just part of the script that you followed?
Honestly, the character was so well defined and so well written for me that I only had to speak to my director to kind of understand what he visualized for me to portray on screen. But after the film, we were in Delhi a few days back, and we met some raw agents, ex-raw agents who had spent like 11 years in a jail in Pakistan, 14.5 years in a jail in Pakistan, and then they've come back. And in fact, we even tried to get a petition out there that request the government to give them the kind of acknowledgement that freedom fighters get, because they are also working for our country at the end of the day. So we did meet a few after the film, not during or before. And honestly, they're not like, it's not like every day you meet a raw agent, like, you don't know who they are, and it's very tough to like figure out. They won't really come and meet you. So I guess my preparation was through my director and what he had written and what he had visualized.
And if I may add, to justify Sonakshi being a raw agent, I'm not protocol again, I'm not allowed to really speak about it, but if I broadly speak about something, I met a family in an Eastern European country, and a family like a normal regular family. And when I walked out of there, they told me that the person was a raw agent, and I said, hell man, I mean, he's a family man, he didn't look like a raw agent. And they said, it's not him, it's her, it's his wife who's a raw agent. So just to give you an idea, you really, they're regular people. They're people like you, everybody said that, who's sitting here. So it's fantastic, it's very intriguing, and the whole world of espionage is lovely. So coming back to Force 1 was very raw, was very local. Force 2 has been sent out into a far larger format, and it's far more complex. It's something that took a lot of time to really put together, because we were very clear we wanted to make a commercial film. We didn't want to make a documentary, we didn't want to sound preachy, we didn't want to be patriotic technically or jingoistic. We wanted to make a commercial film where everybody enjoys it across the world. So just to draw that balance and get it right took us some time, but hopefully we've achieved it.
Hi John, and hi Sonakshi, how are you? It's Manjusha from Gulf News.
Hi.
Quickly, sequels are very tricky. How did you have a certain set of expectations perhaps while making the sequel, because sometimes the sequels shouldn't be made ever. You know, I just saw Rock On 2 and I'm saying that from the heart. So
No, you're absolutely right. I agree with you. Sometimes we force fit sequels. But I think to be very fair and honest, you know, Force was a film from its inception that I felt, and I honestly felt this, you know, like, and I always say this on record, Bruce Willis had a Die Hard, you know, Vin Diesel has his Fast and the Furious, or Stallone has a Rocky and an Expendables. I think we have Force as that action series in the country that's legitimate. There are films that forcibly have sequels, and then you scratch your head and you wonder, why did they even make a sequel? Sometimes a film is good when it's left to a part one.
yes.
But I can understand the producer's perspective, and they feel franchises work. Even in Hollywood, franchises work. It's always debatable whether you like the sequel or you like the first part or whatever. That's debatable. But franchises usually work. The question is, did Force merit a sequel? The answer is a resounding yes. In fact, we're speaking about a Force 3 without sounding presumptuous about it, because Force 2 was made, and I speak as a producer, it was made very smartly. We've through our pre-sales, etc., we've covered up the cost of production of this film.
Okay.
So all we have to recover in our parlance that we speak is your print and advertising cost. So in terms of commercially viable, the film is commercially very viable.
Okay.
We've got a plus film on the table. But why did we actually make this film? We wanted to entertain the audiences. People asked us, you know, you've got this 500 and 1,000 rupee demonetization issue that's happening in India. How is it going to impact your film? Is it going to impact your film? And the answer is yes, there will be some amount of impact. You cannot say no, there will be some amount of impact. But does that mean we take away from the fact that people need to be entertained? We want to go out there, we want to put our film out there, and we want to entertain people. So today, Force 2 is not about numbers as much as it is about credibility. Everybody knows there's an issue, but we want to overcome that. We want to entertain people. We're an honest film, and we're very excited to really release it and show it to everyone, especially here in Dubai, which I consider, I'm sure Sonakshi is always in a 100 crore plus market, so she's exempt from this conversation. But I think for me, I love my films too. My films really work well in Dubai, and I have an audience in Dubai, and I really enjoy the space, so which is why we're here.
Brilliant. And Sonakshi, you dance like a dream and you can kick some behind. So how does that work? Is that a weird skill set, a combination where you need to dance and kick ass? How does that work? And how do you sell it in a Bollywood movie?
Well, I kicked ass, and then they realized that, oh, she does this too, so let's make her do it anyway.
Really?
So I did it. But honestly, you're talking about Kaate Nahi Karte.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
It's
Yeah.
a promotional song. And let's be real, I am playing a raw agent. I will not suddenly become this dancing queen in the film. So it's a promotional song because we had a really, really good song in our hands. So the producers felt that I should perform to it, and which I did. And I'm glad that you guys like it.
Excellent. Did you all sign a petition to change the lives of raw agent to help them? We heard that. Did you all?
Yeah, that's what I was telling about.
Okay.
We went there to put out this petition in front of a lot of people, so that the government acknowledges them and gives them a compensation and gives them the kind of at least respect and compensation that they deserve for serving the country.
Right. And last question, John. How do you think this won't be a jingoistic movie, especially considering that there is like a political tensions between India and Pakistan right now?
So, okay, the two answers to that. One is, it's not jingoistic because of the craft of the director. B, it's not jingoistic because we planned this movie way in advance. That time the relations were great. So, we didn't really plan for relationships to go bad so we can release this film. Number three, this film is not anti-Pakistan. It's not anti any country. It only raises questions within our own government and our own country. I'd like to say that on record.
Yeah.
We're not making films here to bash other countries. We're not making films we're not in that space. We've got people who love us from everywhere. we want to make films to entertain a universal audience. Jingoism is when you just mindlessly bash someone else. We're not doing that. We are raising questions within our own governance, and I think that's what makes Force 2 really, really special. So when we talk about patriotism, patriotism means being critical about your own state.
Okay.
And I think that's important, and that's the way I would define Force 2. And I'm sure when the audiences here, be it Indians or Pakistanis or Bangladeshis or anybody who watches it here, they'll walk out saying, fantastic. They'll say, this is a great film. John was right. What he said was right. This is a great film. This is not anti-anybody. This is just raising questions that any government would have about their own country.
Okay.
So that's what this film does.
Brilliant. All the best.
I actually have a question for you, John. It's hard being a producer and an actor, right? Because on one hand you're creative, on the other hand you have to be commercial. So where does the line between artist and producer kind of blur? Do you ever have that moment where you're like, I don't know?
I come in pre-production and then I come in post-production. So when I'm on set, I think never once did we really discuss anything about the film. And I'm sure Sonakshi has not even been an audience to any of my production discussions, pre and post.
Yeah.
She just looks at me like one psycho who stops her from eating food all the time. So I think that's important that we leave that as a backdoor.
Yeah.
Because that job is really, really very thankless.
And you do it very well though, because all the films you produce somehow manage to make money. You manage to get the right balance between spending money and making money, which is, how do you take a call on which films you're producing?
I think if you make a film in a good budget, you will not shut a studio down, number one. If you make a film if you cut the cloth according to the length, then you're safe. So here it's not about making money, because as a producer, I'm very clear that Force 2 is already, it's going to be a plus. But it's about credibility and acceptance with an audience. Beyond that, you guys should like it. And that's very important. So it's about content creation.
Okay, the cost bit is out, the business bit is out, but when you look at a script to produce, what is that one thing that you really look forward to in it?
I'm an audience, and that's what happened to me when I read Vicky Donor, and I still remember calling Ayushmann into the office and sitting with him, and he said, big bro, and I just told Shujit, that this, honestly, forget the fact that he's new, he's the best thing that can happen to this film, and that's how we cast him. So I think content is first, and then you cast the character, whether it's a newcomer. Content rules. So if your content's exceptional, you'll find an audience. Pink found an audience.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It became a movement. There are certain films that just find an audience. So you should be secure about the kind of films you're making. Don't go for that, that massive opening. You just want to carpet bomb. Get that opening the first 3 days, and then like the press here is smart enough to know that 60 or 70% of your business happens in those first 3 days, and your film plummets, it's gone.
Yeah.
That's not what I am in the business for. I'm in the business for the fact that you can keep this film for you for life, and you can keep watching it and saying, hey, listen, you want to see a sensible film? Watch this.
So now, a question for you. Sorry. Would you like to go first, Jack?
John, you fall in love eventually in Force, and what about in Force 2?
Sorry, can you say that again?
You fall in love in Force 1, and what about in Force 2?
Fantastic question, good question. So, in the trailer of Force 2, I say, 5 साल पहले मेरी बीवी मर गई, इसके बाद मैं सटक गया. So, I've lost my head. I'm on a crazy mission. I'm on a death wish. I want to go to places where I know I could die probably. Force 2, I think from the first look of it only, when you see in the trailer, you realize that your counterparts, that there is no love here. There is a strange relationship that we have, which builds through the film. So you're not going to see, correct me if I'm wrong, you're not going to see romance in this film, and we're being very honest about it. It's a straight-on espionage thriller, and there are two people, there are two of us who are going to go and find this bad guy. So I think about my wife, but at the end of the day, she's no more.
And I think that is so refreshing. That is something that I found so refreshing when the script came to me, that it's so cliched that, oh, these guys are working together and will fall in love. So until the very end, that didn't happen. And for me, this could very well be a two-hero film because we are together, fighting together, we're on a mission together. And you don't have to fall in love with the person you're working with, right? He's a police officer, I'm a law agent. We're trying to save the country, for God's sake. There's no time for love. Need all of that. So, and I like the fact that they just stuck to that and stayed true to that and didn't divert from that. So it's very refreshing actually when you see the relationship between the two characters is great. It starts off with disdain towards each other, then turns into trust, then turns into like kind of dependence, and it's really nice to see these two people come together for a mission.
Nice. I have another businessy question for you, Sonakshi. Since, you know, it's only been a few... No, it's a simple one, don't worry. You're really active on social media, you represent a very young audience, right? Do you see us slowly starting to move away from this whole 3-hour, 2-hour full-length film format and moving into a more... I mean, when will India have a Game of Thrones? When will India have a Netflix series to be really proud of, in which people can think of casting Sonakshi Sinha?
I think so. I think they have taken the step towards it. We have all these digital, what do they call? The short films and series, web series. Yes, we have veered into that, but I think Indian television has a really long way to go before it's. You can compare it to a Game of Thrones, for instance. So I feel we've taken that step in that direction. I hope that it turns out into something like that or even comes close to it. But yeah, I'm open to it because I love the digital space. I am very active on social media. That is where a lot of my audience is. And nowadays everybody is on their phones or on their tablets watching stuff online. Even cricket matches have come down to 2020 years. So I don't think people in today's day and age have that kind of patience to sit for 3 hours and watch a film. We're just restless nowadays. So I feel, yes, everything will be shortened over a period of time. And I'm open to it. I would like to do something in that space.
I think just to give you an idea, we have the Indian Super League, the football that happens in India. Because I have a team, I follow it closely on a channel, right? You watch it on Star Sports and the other Hindi channels that they telecast it on. Do you know the digital arm of where the football is being telecast on Star has grown 700%. So there are more people watching it on digital today, online today, than actually watching it. And I'm talking about the specific TG, the specific target group, actually watches it more. So just to totally validate what Sonakshi is saying, I think our GECs, our general entertainment channels, there's a certain format in which we function, which I think is passé. It will pass, it will move on. There'll be an audience for it, but there's a digital audience that will grow. I also believe there'll be short films, 20-minute films, 25-minute films that would become more prevalent on the digital platform where you have your phone, you want to watch it and move on. You mirror it or you watch it on the screen. There are going to be huge changes. Amazon, Netflix have all come into India. I hope they don't do as the Indians do, because that's where they'll have to take that big leap and change their format. But I hope we can finally one day see a Game of Thrones, and I think people like Sonakshi, she's a game changer of her own in Hindi films. If she makes a move, then I think there's going to be an entire generation that will actually follow her into quality digital space.